Welcome back to a very basic space program. In this episode, we will be finishing off almost the Coniston program, actually Coniston 3's program. I don't know if we're going to call the next one a Coniston or not. I don't know because it's going to be a little bit different, the plane that comes after it. So we're going to finish that off, I think, and we're going to be putting our first scientific and solar satellite into orbit. So please join me. So here we are in mission control. We're just going to take this X-Planes High contract. It's going to require we go up to 70. The next one will be 75, which will be the limit we can take this craft, because 75, over 75, our crew will they'll pass out. They will actually pass out, and yeah, that's going to be a problem for us. So we're going to take 70. 75 will be a touch and go one. I'll have to decide. We're going to maybe practice on this one to see if we can get to 75 without dying, and then if I undershoot it, at least we don't fail a contract. So we're going to take that. Right, let's while we're waiting for our next Javelin rocket to build, let's go and fly a Coniston. However, before we actually fly the Coniston, we might want to actually spend some of this money. So we've got 2 copies. I've duplicated our J103 to a J104 as well. So that's our backup. So we've got that money in the bank, as it were. We're gonna buy some upgrades. I know I should be saving some for things. I think I should actually. That's a good point. So I think we're just gonna spend just a couple of upgrade points. It's 3. There we go. That's nice. And I'm going to put them all into the VAB, which goes against my sort of keeping them a 2-to-1 ratio thing. But we just need to speed this up a little bit because it's taking quite a while for us to build craft at the moment. So let's air launch the Coniston 3, and I will see you when it's about ready to go. Right, we have Fred Collins in the driver's seat, actually, the passenger seat. He's firing the engines. I have a horrible feeling it was Fred that was responsible for our last, shall we say, difficulty with the Coniston, so I'm aware of that. I'm just going to carefully bring it up. Ever so carefully. There we go. Bring it up. I'm going to go 45. So what's the aim with this? Well, I want to get to 70. I actually want to get to about 75.001 kilometers. I want to go a meter over 75, just hopefully survive this. Obviously, Fred is the crash test dummy of repute in this vehicle, so he's had incidents. I think it's him. I'm going to blame him anyway. So we're going to see what happens. I think this is very much the limit for this craft, particularly the cockpit. But once we may have one more flight to go to 70 officially. But once we hit that, we're going to be looking at having to upgrade the cockpit here to the basically X-15 cockpit, and upgrade the engine as well, get something a bit more beefy, because these 3 engines, although they're served as well, they're not going to take us to the carbon line. They do not have the power to. I think this body potentially does if we put the right engine on it, but I don't know. I think if we get this right, we get everything right, we can probably do it with this craft. However, as I've said before, the air brake situation, we haven't seen a problem with it yet. This craft has actually been good coming back down from 70, so it might be okay. It might be okay going to 100 going to the carbon line, but again, we'll have to see what we do with that. And so we may just evolve this. We may just swap out the actual cockpit and maybe change the engine, and that might be all we need to do to actually achieve something with this. This body might survive this program. The heating is potentially a problem if we get too fast, but we will see. I think we should be okay. We don't have any sensitive like building tanks or anything like that involved, so that's good. Right, we're just going to ride up on our program marker. We've got 22 seconds left, and this does not seem to be doing as well as I would have liked. So we'll see. We're going to pull it up a bit more altitude, please. And then we're just going to get up there. We're going to slow our engines there. If we maybe just cut them as we get onto it. Are we going to make? I don't know if we're going to make 70. That's really bad. We're not going to make 70. Well, Fred, that's interesting. That is a failure. That is one failure for us. Wow. We actually hit, I'm sure we hit over 70 in the last flight, so how did we not do it on this one? Did we not just go steep enough? I don't know, Fred, that's a failure, so this flight's going to have to go again. Right. This is a bit of a pointless one. I guess we're going to speed this up to max speed, And actually we will practice coming down with this angle of attack and see if we can actually slow down. We learn something from this anyway. We'll do a little bit of skip glide tech. Can we slow down coming down like this, or is this craft going to be just overheated? Is it unstable? Because if we do take this craft up to over 100, we're going to have to slow it down somehow. So we'll have to see that. So here we are. We're going to hit into 50, and we're definitely slowing. That's nice. I like that. We're bringing our program marker up there, so I think we're getting some forward. We're actually basically using ourselves like I always want to say a Faraday wing. It's not a Faraday wing. A Newtonian wing. The idea that we're hitting the air and the air is acting as an equal and opposite reaction against the wing. It's very Newtonian in its approach. When in actual fact there's a sort of diversionary force, and there's all sorts of interesting sort of margins around our wings. We've got airflow and pockets of pressure and things like that, and it's all wonderful. But anyway, enough of that. We have dropped a lot of speed there. That's really interesting. So that angle there, which was at about 25 degrees, we were able to hold coming through, and it just literally killed all of our speed. That's really interesting. And yeah, we'll put our air brakes on and everything, and come on down. And there we are. We've now got some more air, and we can just go down as we like. Interesting. All right. Well, this is going to be a reasonably quick flight, I guess, for compared to all the others. So it may have been a failure, Fred. It may have been a failure, but that return at least has taught us something interesting about the dynamics of this flight and this craft. I do wonder if we should actually lose some of the stability in the tail. Well, not lose stability, but actually set up the craft a little bit more so that we've got the air brakes. I do think. But then again, that return there was really, look at that. We're almost got zero airspeed. That's unbelievable. I can't believe that. We're actually gonna. I don't understand how we're managing to hold this. Something has changed with atmospheric autopilot, because there's no way this should be working like this. It's almost like when this craft ripped its wings off, something changed in it. But then we reloaded one of the older versions, and we rebuilt one of the older versions without the addition. So maybe it's just extremely light. Maybe that's what we're not taking into account. Without the science payloads, it's maybe very light. Anyway, fire off the parachutes. There we go. And off we go, flipping around. And we can just accelerate down to the ground there. We actually waited very late to open those parachutes because we were going so slowly. There was no real need. And yeah, look, we are actually going very slow down. It's like I suppose we've emptied the tanks, haven't we? This is the lightest this craft can ever really get, even with those extra engines on the back. So I suppose that's it, right? Let's land this thing. Let's go launch a rocket. We'll prep this again for another launch and see if we can get to 70 with a bit of a steeper thing, and I may or may not include it. So if I don't include it, just assume I've got it. Right, let's get back to the Space Center. Right, you join us with Constantine on his way up to about 75 kilometers. We've done a much more vertical launch this time, and we're just keeping an eye on that velocity just in case we on the apoaps, just in case we need to kick the engines into gear again to go for it. Yeah, I refueled the craft. Obviously our previous pilot was not available, so Constantine's jumped in, and we've just basically fired it up at a much steeper angle. That does mean we're going to come down a much steeper angle, and yeah, interestingly we're gaining altitude as we go along, which is a little concerning because I don't think that he can survive very long above 75. So this could kill him actually. I've just realised this. You can actually see our apoaps is going up, and I'm not entirely sure why. So we just need to drop the nose down a little bit and try and just get ourselves going down a little bit. So what we might do is just hit the engines going this way. There we go. Pull us down as quickly as possible, please. There we go. Oh dear. Come on, come down, come down, come down, come down. How much longer has he got? How much longer has he got? Ooh. And we are now flipping and falling. Oh dear, Constantine, what's happening? This bar should be going up. Loss of consciousness G meter is fine. How long can I survive? How long can he survive? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Oh, we're past it. Right. Oof. Right. Now, the interesting thing is that I don't think that autopilot is actually working brilliantly. But anyway, let's get this thing heading in the right direction. And let's see what happens, because we've got no, there's almost no control right now. It's in a sort of spin, so we need to get this thing under control. Right, let's see. Here we go. Right, we've got some vicious movements. Right, let us just pull it round. Come on, spin the craft round. We're currently coming down on our head. Right, here we go. Ooh, ooh, turn it, control it, control it, control it. Get me some control, get me some control. Turning back, there we go. Right, we are coming down fast. We are needing to pull up. I want some pulling up. This is going to be a lot of G, I think. This is going to be a lot of G. Right, that was quite an extreme. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. The G-force is not too extreme. Okay, there we go. And we're just actually going to see if I can take it onto the level. There we go. Let's get it up a bit. Right, and then we're going to convert some of that downwards force, downwards energy, downwards velocity into sideways velocity, because we need to get back to land. I do not want to put this thing in the water. We know we have a hatred of water landings, so there we go. Right, I'm going to speed this up and get it back to land, and then I will join you and we'll get on with our rocket finally. So we know we can get to 75, so we'll be able to send this up to 75 and get that contract next time, I think. So I won't bother showing you that. You've seen Constantine, first crew member to get to 75 kilometers up, and that will be the limit that this plane will get to. So pretty much the Coniston program is on pause. You won't see it get the actual 75. We'll wait until it's nice and maxed out and get that, but it's pretty much paused now. So yeah, let's get this down. So I will see you back at the Space Center. Oh look, it's just there. Right, we have recovered, or we are recovering the craft. We got a little bit of science out of that, but because of the flight path, we didn't get much of that Mach 2 science done. Constantine is back. He's increased his retirement date and he's gone on a bit of a break. So we're going to recover that vessel, and the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to get this satellite era science. When we get that, we're going to have to go and buy the parts, and we're going to load them up onto these satellites. So it's going to be a modification of these satellites, which will add some time to what's going on, and then we can actually bump up a bit more of the actual upgrades. In fact, I'm just going to put another upgrade point in there, because we've got one and we can just pop that in there. That's good. Right. Our tech is going okay. These are all got very little time on, because we put a nice bit of funding into our tech. We do have science points to spend, which we can do whenever. There is no point in us actually having a really long tech tree there. We can just hold on to our science until we really need it, because we might decide to change the route that we're actually going. So let us get this science out of the way, and then we can actually go into the research facility and have a look at what we've unlocked. So here we are. We have got this here. I want to actually unlock all of this. Yeah, we're gonna unlock absolutely all of it. So purchase all the parts. Wonderful. We've got all of this stuff as well. I don't actually know if you have to purchase those parts to get these experiments for inside your craft or not, but I think it's only fair that you do it. So we've got all these. We've got magnetoboom, Geiger Muller, meteor impact, television camera. We're going to go and put those onto our little satellite. Right, so here we are in the VAB, and this is not the easiest thing to do, what I'm about to do, because we need to actually not dismantle this craft, and I need to get in and have a good look at it. So we do that. I want to just zoom in. Come on. Right. I want to find my probe core, which is, oh, it's there. Oh, that's annoying. Can I just get in it? There we go. Right. I need to right click on it. That's hard because we've actually encased it in so much stuff. It's actually difficult to get to. Oh, we've actually got space in it to put things. How nice. Right. So let's open up the experiments, and we know that we want the mass spec in there. We're gonna go for, let's have a look. We don't want a barometer. We don't want a thermometer. We want a radiation detector. We'll have that. What else do we want? Let's see. We don't want that barometer. We don't want that thermometer. We've got a radiation detector. We want a magnetometer. Yeah, we do. I think that, what does that require? That lasts for 30 days and doesn't have anything specific. This one does radiation and lasts for 91 days. That one's 2 hours. So then we're going to go and get this one, which is, let's have a look. It is TV camera. Now, that is biome specific, isn't it? Yes. So that would actually be worth our while putting this into a polar orbit, I think. Now, what's our delta V like on this? Oh, I've hit it. I've hit the fairing. Oh no. Luckily, these fairings are actually fixed size, so that shouldn't be a major problem. But let's have a look. Has it done anything? Oh, it's taken a bit, but yeah, I'll take that because I'm being a little cheaty doing what we're actually doing. So what I'm actually going to do is save that craft. We now have, I think we've got more than enough to get this polar. Yep, I think so. Now, let us just check though, because one of the requirements of the scientific mission, let's have a look. One of the requirements of the scientific, so this solar one just needs to be over 300 on the perips, which we can boost up using the RCS on there if need be. The other ones, let's have a look. We have orbit around the Earth, apogee of minimum apogee, so that needs to be over 1,500. It needs to be quite high. Okay, in between 2,000 over 200, that's okay. Right, so we need to be over 300 and over 1,500. I think we can do that. I think we can do that polar. I think we have the ability to do that with this rocket polar. So I think we're going to go for that. Right. So we've saved this version. We're going to save the edits. We're going to finish building it. And I will edit the other one of these, the backup craft, to be the same. So here we are on the launch pad. We are aiming to get a periaps of above 300 and an apogee of over 1,500 kilometers. We can get these two contracts done with those two together, as long as we can get some electric charge while we're there and do some science. We should be okay. So let's get going with this. We're gonna get over to the smart ASS, get that set to service mode. We're going to go for an equatorial launch with this one. If this works, we'll put the next one probably in our polar orbit, or we'll do some other mission with it. We will see. So engines to full. We're going to start the engines. They are firing, and we are go. So we've got our usual slow rise off the platform. This rocket is very much about a slow start there, just waiting for it to start shedding some of that weight and getting up to the speed where we can start to tip over. It is a very nice, I think it looks quite nice. It's quite a sort of a clean rocket, I think. It's nice and simple. It's not too much to go wrong. We've basically got 3 engines on the craft, one of which is just there for gimbal control. If the gimbal engine goes, which I don't even know what the breakdown of that is. Let's have a quick look. We'll start turning over, and while it's doing that, we can actually have a look and see what the data says on those engines. So mean time between failure for that engine is quite a long time, so I don't think we need to worry too much about that, but it does get a lot of use, I suppose. If we had 3 or 4 of them on the craft, I would start to worry a bit, but because of the degree of gimbal they've actually got, they'd probably be able to counteract any problems they had. So we're just going to send this over. We're aiming to get up to 300, so we're going to let ourselves go a little higher than normal. We're going to let ourselves go a little steeper, just to get up there before we start turning over, which is not the most optimal of launch profiles, but we're going to do that because we want to get to that 300. Remember, we do have the ability to use RCS on this stage to sort our orbit out a little bit, so we'll be playing around with that a little bit, I think, but we'll see what happens. So taking our time. I think when we get to 45, I will probably hold it at 45 instead of turning over like I normally would, I think is what we'll do. I'll just pop this down here so that we can actually see it a little bit with the background. Right, start to turn a bit more. There we go. We're doing quite a steep ascent on this, so on this launch, because we should already be down to about 50 degrees now, but we're actually lagging behind. So there we go, and up, and there we go. A little bit more, and I'm just going to let it sit at 50 for a little while, just a little while, just to give us that little higher level of attack there. We're going to go to 45, and then as soon as we get to around 300, I will be popping it onto 0. We're just going to straight to 0, and that should give us a reasonable opportunity. We may even delay the actual firing of this engine. We'll look at the timings on this. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, we're going to have plenty of time. Just put it on a sideburn at 0 and we'll be fine. Right. Here we go. Almost done. In fact, we're going to be able to turn on to the 0 with this rocket, I think. Yeah. There we go. And turn. And then we're ready for that release. And we can actually put our nose down a little bit just in case. We're going to go a little bit too high. There we go. And staging. Firing that engine. Off we go. And we can get rid of the fairings now. Wonderful. So there we go, look at that. So that's the Solar 1 satellite. Wonderful little cube. Looks really unimpressive like that, doesn't it? Yeah, there are engines going. I think that's a lovely little bit of effect there. So we're making our way up. We can see we've got the RCS stuff there. I almost said RCS system. It is not the RCS system, it's the RC system, or the reaction control system. Not doing that twice, right? We now need to be monitoring these times, so we're actually going to dump our nose down a bit so we don't go too high, we don't get too much of a lead time on this, because we want this one to stay well in advance of that. We don't mind losing a bit of apoaps altitude at the moment, because that apoaps is going to become our periaps, so as long as it's above 300 we're okay, we're happy with that. And of course the higher we are, the better in many ways for our solar cells, because we're going to get more time in the sun. And we need that more time in the sun. So let's have a look. We've got that's okay. We need to aim for that 1,500. That's what we're going to be going for. So it's going to be quite an elliptical. It's going to be a semi-elliptical orbit because of that. Right, we're catching. We need to go a little bit further down there. Just pull it down a little bit more, please. We need to be a little bit more aggressive with that and just pull it down. So we need to stay ahead of this, probably by about 30 seconds we want to stay ahead, I think. Yeah, so as long as we keep this above 300 we're fine. Once we get to 300 here we're going to be really happy. Right, come on, keeping that 30-second gap will be very nice for us. I'm not sure why I've decided 30 seconds, but we know we should have excess fuel afterwards, and 30 seconds gives me the ability to play catch up with it. I think we're now a little bit ahead, so we're going to pop this up to about there. In fact, we're going to pull it up a little bit more because I'm a little concerned we're now going to dip a little bit too low, so we have to think about that. But we do have the RCS, so that's fine. We can always fix this later if needs be. Alright, we're going to pull it up just a little bit more. There we go. Right, keeping that 30. Good. Go up to 5. Nice. Just a bit more. Still losing a bit of time there. We're still gaining. Yeah, we've still got a nice gap. So I'm actually going to pop this on the 0 right now. We're going to put it on the -1. Put it on the -1 and let it catch up. Yeah. So there we go. We're starting to gain a bit of altitude now in our apoaps because we're in effect actually above our final horizon point. So we're actually going to gain a bit. We're going to push that apogee. Apoaps further away from us a little bit right now, and we're going to gain a little bit of height in it as well, so we do that, so that's not too bad. Let's have a look. So 50 seconds, this isn't bad. We should be okay for orbit. Our engines are still good. Okay, we've got time on. We've been burning for 3 minutes. We've got 71 minutes mean time between failures, so that should be a good ratio for us there. We should actually have reasonably good sort of ability to keep our craft. We're going to dip this down just a little bit to let this time go down just an edge, because we're starting to look at this and going, okay, we need to be a little bit more aware of what we're doing. We've got a fair bit of delta V, so we should have more than enough to get into orbit and do these 1,500 kilometers that we need to do. So there we go. Yeah, this is going good. We're going to 0 this. Okay. So we've got 14 seconds. We should more than be enough for what we need right now. We're probably going to hit a negative just as we 0 that out. So we're getting ready, because we don't want to go too high. We want to stay at a reasonable altitude, I think. But I don't really mind, actually. I think we just need to go. Yeah, we don't want our periaps to go too high, so we need to be just aware of that. Right, we're now coming back down just a little bit, but that's okay because we're almost at burnout point. Oh, this is going to be tighter than I thought, actually. Let's see. Let's see. Are we going to do it? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to let it burn all the way. Oh no! That's okay though, because we have a little bit of RCS, so we're going to try and engage that now. There we go. We've not got much action. You can see the little bit of burning there going, a little bit of RCS propulsion going on there, and it's just going to push us. How much have we got left in the tanks though? That's got a lot to go. That's got a lot to go, so that's fine. It's just going to, we're actually using our throttle now to push it forward, and that's just going to push us forward and do that. And let's have a look at how much is that giving us. That's giving us a nice bit of maneuverability actually. That is very nice. Helium's being used up as it goes. Electric charge is not perfect, but we're going to decouple soon, so that's okay. It'd be interesting to see how long this whole unit could last, because we've got an orbital period of, where are we? Orbital period 1 hour 42. It'd be interesting to see if this could actually get a full orbit around it. So before we decouple, we'll actually have a look and see what its orbital, its survival time is going to be. It's out of electric charge and propellant. Is it? Is it out of electric charge and propellant? I don't think it is. That must be the first stage dying, I think. Right, and we're almost done. And then this actual kick will probably actually push us even higher. So there we go, and that is that, I believe. So let's check. Right, all of this is correct. We need positive energy balance. All of that is correct. Got to check orbit and transmit cosmic ray signs. Okay, so that is done. We can shut that off. Okay. Now let's have a quick check and see how long would our science and everything last. What's it going to give us? So we would have electric charge 3 hours. Okay, that's interesting. 3 hours of electric charge. So we could do an orbit with this. However, we don't need to. We're going to decouple. There we go. And then we can actually come in here. If I can grab it, we need to rename this. Rename vessel, not range safety. Solar 1. Change that, accept it, and there we go now. And does it have a positive energy balance is the question. I believe it does. I believe we have a positive energy balance. So what have we got? We've got a positive energy balance. It's got to stay in a stable orbit. Minimum perhaps. Yes, it's done that. Right, so it's just got to do this bit. Oh god, I thought we hadn't done this here. So it's got to do that. So it's got to stay in that for 13 days. And then this one, it has to do, let's have a look. We've got that. It's just got to check it for an hour. So this is going to take a little while it's doing all of its stuff. So I think we'll leave it in orbit, and we will come back to it, and it's hopefully going to be transmitting some science. So let's actually just check what our science is going to be looking like. What have we got? It is talking about data. We've got cosmic ray science and something else. Let's actually have a look at, right, it's shrouded. Oh, interesting. Why is it coming up as shroud? Is that because the solar panels are over the top of it? That's interesting. It was shrouded when it was inside the thing. So what if we do that and then start it? Right, I'm going to go back to the tracking station, and we'll load this up again and see if that fixes it, because it technically should not be shrouded right now, but maybe it's just considering these are occluding it. Maybe that's what's actually doing it, and we have to learn a lesson about that, don't we? Right, I'm going to go and see if we can fix this. So I will pop back in a second, either at the Space Center or up in orbit again. Right, I have reloaded. I have gone back to the Space Center. I've come back up into orbit, and unfortunately our 2 science experiments are still considered to be shrouded, which is a little annoying, because obviously that's something that's probably changed. I quite like the fact that they are, because this is a little cheaty, actually covering every inch. What it does do is it makes it more relevant to actually take your individual experiments and put them on the surface, or have them sticking out or something. So that's quite nice. It makes me think about how we're going to redevelop our future plans for this. So that means that with the mass spec and the visible imaging is not going to get done here, but we can do the cosmic ray science, which we need to do, and the magnetic scan. So that is going to mean that we can complete our missions, because we have got the solar powered satellite, which is going to be achieved because we have energy coming into the system, which is really nice. I think it will actually say you have positive energy balance. And we also have this thing at the right orbit, and all we've got to wait for now is for this cosmic ray science to transmit and for this stable orbit time to finish. So we've got that going on. So we've got those both going. And what we can actually do is we can actually just stop these two experiments, and we can actually stop the telemetry, because that's not going to do us any good. And we'll just let these run, I think. So I'm going to pop down to the Space Center, and I'll be right back with you. Well, here's a little interesting annoyance. If you move away from the craft and go back down, it will not actually complete the mission. You have to stay with it, it seems, because these counters will reset. So we're going to have to run this on and actually watch what's going on and make sure that these things actually complete. So that's going to be annoying. We'll just have to speed through them. And I will get to you when this is finished, I think. Right, we have gone through 2 weeks waiting for this craft to finish its mission, and it's finally done it. So we have finished 2 missions. Let's have a look at those. We have finished first scientific contract. That gives us almost 200,000 funds, and first solar powered craft, which is almost 50,000. So it's a big bump. So while I decide what to do with that and what our next steps are, I'm going to say from me, until next time, have a great one.